Stage 6 in June. Haven't we had enough already? Haven't we had enough already? This was my honest first thought when I sat with stage 6. The stage, sometimes known as struggle or the dragon fight. Not the polished answer, not the wise therapist answer, just the human one. Because really, haven't we? Hi, I'm MARI Grande, art and trauma therapist, teacher, and intuitive coach. So many of us have been carrying a lot, some of it visible, some of it tucked away in the body, some of it held quietly because life kept asking us to keep going. And then June arrives. The light comes in differently, the days stretch longer. There is this pull towards summer, toward movement, toward freedom, towards something easier. Part of me wants to exhale and say, please, can we just have some softness? And yet, stage 6 does not necessarily bring us that first. It brings us to the place where something presses back. In the language of this stage, there is struggle, tension, opposition, a dragon at the gate. At first, that sounds like the opposite of June. It sounds like the opposite of the number 6 in numerology, which is often connected with care, home, responsibility, harmony, and healing. But the more I sit with it, the more I feel how connected these energies actually are. Care is not always soft. Sometimes care has to become honest. Sometimes care has to say, this is too much. Sometimes care has to stop smoothing things over and start telling the truth. That's not easy for many of us, especially for those of us who learn to survive by being agreeable, useful, quiet, capable, or low need. If peace once depended on us not having too many feelings, then struggle can feel dangerous. Conflict can feel like failure. A boundary can feel like betrayal. But in therapy, especially in trauma work, I don't always see struggle as something to get rid of. Sometimes struggle is a doorway. It shows us where two parts of us are trying to be heard. One part wants to rest, another part feels responsible. One part wants to say no, and another part is afraid of what will happen if we do. One part wants freedom, another part is still bracing for impact. This is where stage 6 feels less like a battle and more like an invitation to listen. The dragon may not be here simply to fight us. It may be guarding something, a fear, a younger part, a grief, a need, a truth we have not yet been ready to name. As an art and trauma therapist, I often think about how much the body and the imagination know before words arrive. We may notice we can't explain why we feel tense, restless, resentful, or exhausted, but something in us is already making sense of it. We may see or draw an image, a wall, a fire, a locked door, a tired animal, a storm, a dragon. Now, these images matter, whether they're in your imagination, your dreams, your artwork, your doodles. They give form to what has been living underneath the surface. They help us approach what feels too big to meet directly. They let us be in relationship with the struggle instead of being swallowed by it. Maybe this is part of the medicine of stage 6 in June. Not to force ourselves into harmony and not to fight everything that feels uncomfortable, but to ask what kind of harmony is actually true. Because harmony that requires self-abandonment is not healing. Care that has no boundaries eventually becomes resentment. Love that asks us to disappear is not love we can live inside of. So perhaps the question this month is not how do I avoid the struggle, Maybe the question is, what is the struggle trying to protect, reveal, or restore? What have I been overriding myself? Where am I tired of pretending something is fine? And where does my body say no before my voice does? Where is the dragon standing? And what might it be guarding? I don't think we have to answer these things, these answers. I don't think we have to answer these questions quickly. In fact, I hope you don't. Some questions are meant to be lived with for a while. Some truths need gentleness, germination, before they can become clear. So as June opens, maybe we let ourselves be both tired and hopeful. Maybe we let ourselves want ease without shaming the places that still feel tangled. Maybe we allow the longer light to show us what needs care, not so we can fix ourselves, but so we can return to ourselves with more honesty. Stage 6 reminds me that courage and tenderness do not have to be opposites. We can have limits and still have love. We can tell the truth and still be kind. We can face the dragon without becoming hard. And maybe, just maybe, the dragon is not here to defeat us. Maybe it's here to show us the part of ourselves that has been waiting to come home. Thank you for listening, and I wish you a June full of everything meant for you.